Hi, everybody. Sorry. You see, that's what I get for goofing around with the text. So, good morning. Let me minimize this. And everyone left the chat. Well, I'm sorry. I think that was, hey, yo, Jim. I think that was totally my fault that I went off. But that was Mukwa, bear in Ojibwe. And what I wanted to do was to show this graphic. We were talking yesterday about the 7 grandfather teachings. And let me see if I can move this without. Here we go. So, the 7 grandfather teachings, also known as the 7 Anishinaabe values, each of the values is represented by an animal. So we have respect, and Manadenda Moen is respect in Ojibwe. That's represented by the buffalo, or the Mashkode Bijiki. Mashkode Bijiki, it's like the medicine cow, is respect. Courage is the bear, which is Mukko was talking about. And the wolf is humility, beaver is wisdom. But then you look at honesty, and there's Sabe, and there's Bigfoot. And then you get the truth, and it's the turtle, and the eagle is love, And it just makes you go, it would be consistent if Sabe wasn't real to the Ojibwe people. They would have had respect being, the dragon, and the sea monster would have been courage or something. The only so-called mythical creature is Sabe. So anyway, how are you guys doing on this Nano Gija Good, on this 5th day, the Friday? On the Good Friday. I've got Friday on my mind. I spent most of my adult life just counting down the minutes to Friday, because I always wanted the week to end. And I would be just free to not be at my job. You ever have a job you just hate? There's a big difference between check. Between jobs and careers. When you have a job, there's too many hours. What am I doing? Too many hours in the day. You guys can't even see my face. There are too many hours in the day. And when you have a career, there's not enough hours in the day. I was hoping, I was wishing you had a little more time to get your project done or whatever. And that's the way I feel about this podcast. Like, it's never a job to me. If anything, I don't have enough time to do all the things I want to do with it. S is back. Good morning, S. How are you? It's nice to see you here. Here, have to shovel later. You guys got 5 inches of snow? Oh, man. Cheese ogepun. Good morning, all of you super kits. Suspects. The usual suspects. S has a career. BOOZHOO Quest. I was digging in the yard today when a letter came from Southampton Way. Got a call from an old friend, we used to be real close. He said he couldn't go on the American way. Sold his house, closed the shop, bought a ticket to the West Coast. Now he gives them a stand-up routine. L.A. I just stole those lyrics from a Billy Joel song. Got a call from an old friend, we used to be real close. He said he couldn't go on the American way. Sold his house, closed the shop, bought a ticket to the West Coast. Now he gives them a stand-up routine in L.A. And I still belong, it's my life. And I remember being like a 7th grader going, man, I get it. Where you just can't go on the American way, you know. 9-to-5 job, buy a car, buy a house, get married, have kids, pay taxes. The rat race, you know. I'm not sure where I learned it, but I was always very aware and fearful of the trap of the workaday world. And I was trapped in it. And, you know, before this is all over, this could blow up in my stupid face. And I might find myself back in some 9-to-5 prison. I wish the people in this chat were friendly. Yeah, they're really not. I can't stand the people in this chat. Wouldn't that be funny if we just got together every morning just to be mean to each other? Oh, Jim's here again. Don't you have a life, Jim? Snow's not going to shovel itself. Oh, I'm going to have one more cup of coffee. That's what she said last time. Jeezum. So I put out a poem yesterday that I recorded once before. It was called Tribute to a Best Friend. And if you guys want to get depressed first thing this morning, I could sing this song for you or read the poem to you. And sometimes I get worked up when I talk about my cat. And I don't want to do it. Hey, Jessica's here. BOOZHOO. And Sheila, happy Friday. Happy Friday right back at you. And Gwen Carley is here. Good morning. I was just about to read a totally depressing... I mean, it's not... Death and grief are depressing in a way. But there's something also incredibly beautiful. I heard somebody say this, and I didn't really get it. But they said grief is the first grace. Gosh, Gandam. It's the first thing that connects us all. But I think grief is, it cuts through all the BS. So this is a poem that I wrote, and in the video I put out last night, or yesterday afternoon, has a video of my cat who passed away. So if you want to read along, let me get rid of my fat face. And I'll also get rid of this text. Boom. And look at this. Oh, we're getting just professional, you guys. So think about your favorite pet who passed away. This is called Tribute to a Best Friend. Sunlight streams through window pane unto a spot on the floor. Then I remember, it's where you used to lie, but now you are no more. Our feet walk down a hall of carpet, and muted echoes sound, and then I remember. It's where your paws would joyously abound. A voice is heard along the road and up beyond the hill. Then I remember, it can't be yours. Your golden voice is still. But I'll take that vacant spot of floor and empty muted hall, and lay them with the absent voice, an unused dish along the wall. I'll wrap those treasured memories in a blanket of my love and keep them for my best friend until we meet above. Sunny days. And that is a tribute to a best friend. All right. You have a beautiful spirit. Thank you, Sheila. I loved my cat so much that I had like songs that would were like our song. There's a Kiss tune. Every time I look at you, it's easy to see. Every time I hold you, the things I never told you. That was like a love song written for a woman, but to me it was a song for my cat. And then I was feeling guilty because my new cat, Bagheera, it's like a big fat black cat, and he's a dude, and he's really a cuddly cat. He's a nice cat, very social. He's very, he's just the opposite of what Princess was. But the problem is, I'm always comparing him with her, and anytime like if he tries to bite me or something. I remember the first time he did that, I was like, in 7 years, Princess never once tried to bite me. I always thought, this is kind of like remember that movie Ordinary People? Where the brother dies and then the surviving brother lives in his shadow, and he always feels like his parents are comparing, and that his brother can do no wrong because he's dead. Oh, Jessica, I'm so sorry about your dog. She was 16. That's a good long life for a dog. I had a cat who was my absolute favorite too, died several years ago. She was 15. Wow. So hard to say goodbye, but there's no goodbye in Ojibwe. So see them later. Exactly right. I think that's the first people you see when you go to heaven are your pets. You're like, and like your family's behind them. But I did a little video for Bagheera one time, trying to, I don't know. This is, what is this? Heart beat fast, colors and promises. How to be brave, how can I love when I'm afraid to fall? But watching you stand alone, all of my doubt suddenly goes away somehow. How? One step closer. I don't know. But Bagheera represented me honoring the memory of my cat, Princess. I think Princess visited me either in a dream or just in an inspiration or something. Because I remember it just kind of came upon me. That You don't honor the death of a pet by never moving on. That's the last thing they want their legacy to be about, is just crushing your spirit and making you decide never ever to have another pet that doesn't honor your cat's memory or dog's memory, you know. But that's exactly what I said when Princess died. It was so profoundly hard on me. I just, you know, I'm, you know, not proud, but I was crushed by it. And 3 years went by before I was finally like, you know, something told me, dude, it's not shake it off, but get over it. And you want to honor your cat, go save somebody else. And so getting another animal, I didn't want a cat. I just kind of knew, it's like, well, I loved Princess. Maybe I would like another pet. I can't imagine it. You know, it's like if your child died and your husband's like, well, let's make another one, honey. You're like, I'm not in the mood. And that's not going to fix anything. So yeah, no goodbye in Ojibwe. Because goodbye doesn't mean forever. All right, so I promised Natasha she could get on the show today. So I want to bring her out before NanaBOOZHOO comes out. Here's a Bowie tune that I'm just going to have to impersonate Natasha's part. But Natasha has a big part in it. And it's called Golden Years. Don't let me hear you say life's taking you nowhere. Angel, come bub up the baby. Look at that sky, now life's begun. Nights are warm and the days are young. Come bub up the baby. Where's my baby lost? That's all. Once I'm begging you, save her little soul. Come bub up the baby. Run for the shadows. Run for the shadows. Run for the shadows in these golden years. Last night they loved you, opening doors and pulling some strings. Angel, come bub up the baby. In walk luck and you looked in time. Never look back, walk tall, act fine. Come bub up the baby. I'll stick with you, baby, for 1,000 years. Nothing's gonna touch you in these golden years. Golden years. Natasha's fun to sing. Gold. Early bloomed cat lady, yeah, me too. I would never love another cat. Now I have 4 cats. Yeah, isn't that crazy? You just create a family of cats. And Vixen is an absolute mama's boy. I love this guy. Vixen. Cool name. Goodbye, girl, though. You're not going to get any more than 4? Might be enough. But then again, to that one little cat living in jail right now, there is something wonderful about liberating that feeling of going to the shelter and seeing, like I remember Bagheera, he came up to me. I was there to pick up another cat. And hadn't met the cat, just saw the picture on the Facebook page or whatever. And went in to pick up this other cat, and then Bagheera came over to me and sat in my lap. And I was like, get rid of this cat. But then I went to look at the other cats, and there he was in his little pen, that metal box with the, they have to make it easy to clean, I suppose. But you're like, dude, it's like you're in jail here. All these weird cats, and, and so to take them home felt good. But then, of course, like when new cats come into your house, they're freaked out. He immediately goes and hides under the bed, And in the middle of the night, he comes out and just comes up to my face. Just, easy, dude. I don't know you. I'm not sure if you're going to, like, bite my nose or what you're doing. And it took a while. I was kind of afraid of him because I didn't get him declawed or anything. You know, he was probably living in the woods a week earlier. How'd you come up with a name? Oh, Bagheera is the Black Panther in a Jungle Book. Or The Jungle Book, a cartoon with Mowgli and Baloo and Shere Khan. It might have been the first movie I'd ever seen, but it had a profound effect on my life. As a little kid, I had the soundtrack too. I had a record of, ooh, 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 I want to be like you, ooh, ooh. I want to walk like you, talk like you, ooh, 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 ooh. I'm pretty grateful to my parents for my music education growing up. Not that they put any thought into it. In fact, their lack of putting thought into what kind of music should we introduce Michael to, just accidentally led to, like, that movie. Some of my first favorite music was really good kind of ragtime jazz. That whole soundtrack is amazing. And then they were music listeners. They had a record player, and it was the early 70s. So I listened to a lot of Elvis Presley and the Bee Gees, Jim Croce, a lot of music I still like. I was introduced to, or I just grew up listening to, and then was also allowed to play my own records, or to play their records, And I was a teenager before I started listening to, kind of choosing my own music, which I graduated into listening to Kiss and David Bowie and Pink Floyd and stuff. But and what Kiss was good at, it really inspired me to draw, because when you become a Kiss fan, you don't just fall in love with the music. You fall in love with all the imagery and the science fiction behind it. And so when I discovered Kiss and got my own record player, I would just listen to albums and draw, and then I would just draw Kiss over and over again, just comic books, and those guys flying around and doing whatever. To this day, I can draw a platform heel much quicker and easier than a regular shoe or a foot. So we're talking about cats this morning, yeah. And not Peter Criss, the cat man, or who's the cat now? Not Tommy Thayer, Eric Singer. I have too many to name. They all have names and their own personalities. Like I'm watching a cartoon. Jessica says, you should tell us the word for cats. I already know it, but maybe someone else wants to know. Excellent suggestion. Cat is Gajagaints. Gajagaints. And I have a cat character, but his mouth doesn't move. You want to hear a really bad... Well, actually, I'm going to bring Natasha out. Natasha, can you do an English accent?
Can I do an English accent? I've never tried. But I could try. Hello, governor.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Let me get you on here. I always thought you were an incredible actor.
Me?
Yeah.
You don't think my voice is like, loud and irritating?
Not at all. Can you do an English accent?
Let me try. Hello, governor.
What did they say?
So write to me, David Bowie, in care of Save the Children. Save the Children. I don't know. You have to give me something to say, or I won't know how to say it. Oh, you know what? One thing I did do this week. Hi, everybody. BOOZHOO. Natasha Nindisha, cause Natasha is my name. And we were talking about acting and whatnot. And I did the St. Crispin's Day. No, I didn't. I get myself confused with Nanaboozhoo. Nanaboozhoo, remember when you did the St. Crispin's Day speech from that Shakespeare play?
Yeah, of course. It was like 3 days ago.
Yeah. I thought I remembered me doing it, but it was you. Sometimes we're so close that I think his memories are my memories. Isn't that nuts? Anywho, so yeah. Princess. Me and Princess were really close. She was my favorite cat. But you know what else it was? Your pet is somebody who, they're there. They're the ones who bared witness to everything that happened to you. You know, the good times and the bad times, every morning, every night, and then just like that, they go away. And you go, oh, I feel like I lost a leg. I feel like I lost a limb. I didn't know how to sleep. I think it's what it's like when people get divorced and they're like, I don't know where to put my arms when I go to sleep now. But you get over it, It teaches you something. Gosh, kinda mowing. Here we are talking about grief again. Good grief. So yeah. Good morning, Brandy Marie. Brandy. You're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be. But my love, my lady is the sea. My land. I don't even know the lyrics. I think it's a story about a guy who can't commit because he's a sailor. And he wants to marry Brandy. But he's like, nope, I got a job on a boat. Sorry, lady. My true love is the sea. So, yeah. So today's Ojibwe word of the day. Nano Geisha good. Friday. And Friday is named the 5th day because it's the day you get a 5th of bourbon. Nah! It's the day you drink a 5th of gin. Do they sell gins what does that mean? 5th? Is that a 5th of a pint? 5th of a gallon? 5th. The 5th day, Friday. It's the day to get fried. I've got Friday on my mind. What's another Friday song? It's Friday, I'm in love. Friday. What's that? Chocolate Rain? Does that have something to do with Friday? It's the freaking weekend. I don't know. Weekends are different now. They don't feel the same. Because I'm not slaving away at the county. I didn't sell my soul to the company store. Every day is a weekend here in Nanaboozhoo land, huh, sweetie?
Yeah, that's right.
Do you want to come up and make an appearance?
I suppose I could.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to introduce the host of the BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO podcast, Mr. Nanaboozhoo himself. Nanaboozhoo! Come on over, buddy! Yeah, come on over!
Can you come get me?
Oh, that's right. Sorry. See you again. Can you come up and in? Middle coffee breath.
Okay, everything's A-okay. And I'm on my way to where the air is new. Can you tell me how to get to Nanaboozhoo? The camera's almost perfect, but let's move it just a little bit. All right. Oh, that's right. He loves the sea. Friday, Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Get down on Friday, gotta get down. I don't know that song. Get up, everybody's gonna move their feet. Get down, everybody's gonna leave their seat. Okay. Na 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 na. So you guys got plans for the weekend? That's something that everyone has to say when they work with people. When you're living the cubicle life, come Friday, it's like, so you got plans? Like we all got to pretend that's how we live our lives. Oh yeah, I went to my calendar and I planned a vacation. I'm going to take the kids. I'm going to take them skiing this weekend. Like who makes plans? I plan not to come into work today. That's job one. I plan, to appreciate my time, not being around people I would never talk to if I wasn't being paid. I plan to finally act like a real human being and, instead of being this fake, smiley, happy guy. I always felt like when I'm working, there was always like a naughty little voice on my shoulder that wanted to make me say inappropriate things, just to shake it up, because there's so many unwritten rules in the world of work, like your clothes. You can wear Levi's on a Friday if your boss says it's casual Friday. Casual. So what that suggests is that every other day is formal day. Oh, it's formal Monday. Should I wear a tuxedo? How formal should we get? And then it's just this arbitrary, gender roles. The women can, they have much more flexibility. But the men, they should wear a blazer with a monochromatic one color, either black or navy blue or maybe brown. But mostly just those three dark colors. White shirt or a light colored. Oh, look at this rebel. He's wearing a light blue colored shirt with a tie and khakis that nobody looks good in. Those, little loafers that slide around on the ice and, little nylon socks with an emblem on them. That's how they want you to dress when you're like an administrator in a college. Weren't you an admissions counselor for a number of years? Yeah. Everybody was proud of you. Oh, going to recruit the Native Americans to Concordia College. What a big shot. Got a job right out of college. And to do what? To take our people away from their land? To assimilate them into the white way? No, thank you, I said. Nah. I don't really feel that way. It's just funny. But he did have a job recruiting Native Americans. What was your title? They called me the Native American representative. Native American representative. So what, you're representing Native Americans? That's a big responsibility. Everybody else is here watching us. So, you want to play Rebel Rebel for Jessica? I could play the Coffee House version. Yeah, we'll play Rebel Rebel. This is a Michael's version of Rebel Rebel. Didn't you kind of rip this off from, what's that chick's name? I can never remember the names of the people. You can't. Yeah, I know. It was like Joni Mitchell or something redid that. All right, Mike, get up here. I'll be right back. That's right, I do take requests. If they happen to be a song that I know, which isn't very often. But this is a song for Jessica Gonzalez, and it's called Rebel Rebel by David Bowie. How did I do this? got your mother in a whirl. She's not sure if you're a boy or a girl. Hey babe, your hair's alright. Hey babe, let's go out tonight. You like me and I like it, oh. We like dancing and we look divine. You love bands when they play it hard. You want more and you want it fast. Put you down, they say I'm wrong. You tacky thing, you put them on. You're a rebel, rebel, you torn your dress. Rebel, rebel, your face is a mess. Rebel, rebel, how could they know? Hot tramp, I love you so. Do 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 do. That's a weird sorry, I know I just ruined that. I wanted Natasha to sing. Got your mother in a whirl. Anyway, David Bowie. Do you remember this one? Let's dance. Put on your red shoes and dance the blues. Let's dance to the song we're playing on the radio. Let's sway while color lights up your face. Let's sway, sway through the crowd to an empty space. If you say run, I'll run with you. And if you say hide, we'll hide. Because my love for you would break my heart in two. If you should fall into my arms and tremble like a flower. Let's dance. Let's dance. You're very welcome, Jessica. Thank you for the request of a song I actually knew. Unless there's a bunch of Kiss fans that come out to watch this, I'm sometimes not prepared. Okay, yeah, David Bowie. How about that movie, Labyrinth? I was saying the other day that wouldn't it be fun? We could remake Labyrinth, and you could play the Goblin King, and I could be that ugly little guy who walked around spraying little fairies. That's the one place where that movie fails. Nobody liked that the main little hobbit guy. You know, he was too ugly. You know, there was Ludo. Everyone liked the big old teddy bear who could throw rocks and stuff. And there was that little dog who rode the other dog. And or was he a skunk or something? I feel like he didn't mind the bog of eternal stench. That's what I called my apartment in college. The bog of eternal stench. Nah. My houses have always been kind of lived in, but sort of picked up. You know, I always put away my dirty clothes, but then, you know, most people's houses I go into, I go, how can you live like this? Gross. You know, my house isn't like super clean, But, you know, I run a vacuum once in a while. I do, you know, there's not many dishes, so we get the dishes done. Dance, magic dance. Yeah. See, the music was unforgettable in that. That would be a big job, us remaking those songs, too. You remind me of the babe. What babe? The babe with the power. What power? The power of voodoo. Hoodoo. You do. Do what? Remind me of the babe. I saw my baby crying hard as babes could cry. Hoggle. Yeah, that was his name, Hoggle. They just kind of blew it with Hoggle. They could have had a better character. I mean, if he had met me down there, or she met me, that'd be a good movie. Let's remake Labyrinth. We'll get a little Shanab girl to play that girl, Sarah, and she can go into the labyrinth, and we'll rewrite it like it'll be an Indian labyrinth, and you can be the Goblin King and sing the Bowie songs. All right, it is decided. Now, all we got to do is hire a film crew and a director and a producer and a bunch of actors and special effects and editing and write the script. Yeah. So we'll have something ready for you later today. Nah. So many things I'd like to do if I could just magically do it. Remake that. I would like to remake Smoke Signals as more of a comedy, a puppet comedy. And like Natasha, she could play a character in it. But I would be Thomas Builds a Fire. Hey, Victor, where's your dad? Does he hate you? But, you know, keep the funny stuff, get rid of the dumb stuff. My one problem with Smoke Signals, and I love Gary Farmer. I just think, you know, he's actually a really good actor. But they shouldn't have had him hook up with somebody. I mean, Irene Bedard, that actress who plays the love interest or whatever. The chick who, Thomas, and she's so out of Gary Farmer's league. Gary Farmer, I mean, ugh. You know, it's like, what was your relationship with my dad? Oh, we kept each other's secrets. What? No. If that movie was to be believable, the Gary Farmer character would have hooked up with somebody his exact body type. That would have made it more believable. Why did she have to be just like a supermodel? Hey, Victor. You guys know who I'm talking about? I mean, she's on the cover of the movie. You know, it's just so Hollywood to get like a super hot. You know, she basically, I think they used her as the model for the cartoon Pocahontas. But, yeah, Gary Farmer, there's no way in the world that girl would have anything to do with him in real life. But I met her once. I was at this event. Okay, it wasn't me, it was Michael. Michael was at an event. It was the Native American Music Festival or Awards or whatever. Down in Shakopee at Mystic Lake Casino. Michael and Annie Humphrey and a bunch of his buddies went down there to jam. And he goes backstage, and it's just like you think. You know, there's windows. There's a big mirror there with all the light bulbs all around. And there's old Irene Bedard putting makeup on, staring at herself in the reflection. Just admiring her beauty. And you're like, oh wow, there's that chick from Smoke Signals. I would go introduce myself, but I'm too shy. So I just looked at her. And I noticed that she was also really fit. You could tell she worked out all the time. She had really strong arms. And I don't know what she looks like anymore. That was a good 15 years ago. She probably hit the wall. She probably looks like that little guy on Labyrinth now. Um, Hoggle. Hogwart. Um, do you know what your dad said? You know my dad? Gigawabamin. Minowa. I'll see you again. Gotta fly. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading Brandy Marie's. This is Brandy Marie. I gotta fly. I'll have to watch this later, dear friends. Have a fabulous weekend. Thank you, Brandy Marie. Hope you have a great weekend, too. Do you know what your dad said? Scott Bones just asked me if I know what my dad said. What did my dad say? Are you one of the students at Trek North? Or are you somebody I actually know in my real life, but I'm so bad with names, I forgot that I knew you? Scott Bones. He was on that TV show Bones. I never saw it, but I think it was on for like 10 seasons. Bones. It's where like guys investigate brutal murders by looking at bones. Oh, look at this. You can tell by the hole in his head he was shot. Maybe by a gun. We'll have to look for clues. I miss the old days where you could watch a good cop show. When TV used to be a thing. I mean, maybe they still make them. I don't know. I would never know. I don't watch TV. But, like, remember Hill Street Blues? And, it would always start the same way. I had a job kind of like that. It was the greatest job I ever had. I was a mover. Worked at a college in Boulder, Colorado, and I worked with a crew who worked in the warehouses for the college. And every morning we would meet in this room, and it'd be like 10 guys, 15 guys, and the boss would come out and give us our assignments, tell us who our partner was for the day. And you'd be there drinking your coffee and your work boots and your work gloves and that big old belt that you wear so you don't hurt your back. A real man's job. And, I don't get to do real man stuff very often. I'm kind of a gentle soul. I'm sort of a gentle artist, So me getting a really cool, like, blue-collar job, blue-collar guys was fun. And we'd ride around these big trucks. But anyway, every morning would start like Hill Street Blues. We'd get in there all crabby. Hey, morning, gentlemen. And the boss would come out. Good morning, gentlemen. Today's assignments. Crew number 1, John and Jeff. I want you guys, blah, blah, blah. Over here, and then you'd end the meeting with, and fellas, let's be careful out there. Like what we were doing was really dangerous. When you lift, you guys, lift with your legs. Let's be careful out there. You don't want to hurt your back. So yeah. Taking what they get. This is the weird irony of work. For as much as I couldn't handle, I was never happy working at jobs. And I never liked my bosses. That's right, I said it. I don't know, one day one of my old bosses will look at this. But that's the phoniest relationship I've ever had, are these fake friendships with your bosses. When they always hold the keys to your well-being, to whether or not you're going to be able to pay rent, is at their whim. And once in a while they exercise that, going, you know what? Yeah, you know how I act, how we spend every day together, and I say good morning and tell you to have a good weekend, and I pretend to care about you? Well, as soon as you stop making money for us, I'm going to take away your livelihood. And I'm going to embarrass you and shame you and break up with you, It's like that. But, so I hated the jobs, but some of the best friends I ever made were the coworkers. These people really did become like family to you. They become siblings. You'd have fights with them sometimes because you were so close. And, every once in a while I think about old jobs I had and how much I miss the people I worked with. And once in a while they come by these live streams. They're like, hey, I haven't seen you in a long time. It's like, yeah, because we don't work together anymore. But we were close. Go to bed. Scott, what did your dad say? We need to know. Go to bed. Why would somebody go to bed at 6:55 in the morning? Unless, of course, they're like, a teenager of this generation who lives on the internet and plays video games all night, sleeps all day. Sometime in the 90s, excuse me, I was at a school in Bena, bug school again, and I saw a kid sleeping on the floor. And I looked at the teacher and went, hey, man, this kid's sleeping. She goes, yeah, just let him sleep. We don't wake them up anymore. What? You just let kids sleep in school? Teachers used to brutalize us if we were caught sleeping in school. But now they're like, no, just let him sleep. They don't, he didn't get to bed until 2, 4 in the morning or whatever. And you go, well, that's kind of a problem, I think. Isn't that what school's supposed to be, like training ground for blue-collar jobs? It's like 50% babysitting and 50%, trying to train the kids to follow orders so they can have a job, sadly. So yeah, I'm not going to bed. La, 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 do, do, do. So, how are you guys this morning? Today's Ojibwe word of the day. Aqua de Ewin, courage, represented by the bear, Makwa. I don't know if you guys were here in the beginning of the show, but Makwa was out here. You did a nice job too there, Niji. Hey, thank you, Nanaboozhoo. That's all right. You got kind of a creepy way about you. Did you know that? What are you talking about? There's nothing creepy about me. No, you sound like kind of an evil George Bush meets Matthew McConaughey. All right, all right, all right. Makwa. An interesting character. Maybe tomorrow we'll get one of the res dogs up here. Hey, Benjamin. Yeah, what do you want? You want to be a guest host tomorrow? Yeah. All right, tomorrow we're going to get Benjamin up here. He'll give the Ojibwe word of the day. And we'll continue our talk on the 7 Anishinaabe values. The 7 grandfather teachings, as it were. Oh, but before we leave, how about that guy who stormed? You know who I'm talking about already. Every once in a while there becomes a figure in pop culture who becomes that guy. So a month or 6 weeks or last summer or sometime, that guy was the guy on the skateboard with the red juice and singing to Fleetwood Mac. Whistle around, right? Well, this month, that guy is Braveheart storming the Capitol, painted up and then wearing like Dakota buffalo headdress. And I started to wonder, and like fake brown pants. I think he was trying to look like an Indian. But he kind of looked like a Viking. It's like, choose a culture to steal. He was a Viking and a Scotsman and a Dakota and a white guy with a beard. But then it kind of begged that question. My last thing about Columbus. And they were saying, D.C., the District of Columbia, is named after Columbus. And you go, okay. So you got Braveheart, Sitting Bull, Viking guy, storming Columbus capital. It's like all of history is all mixed up in this one thing. And but then you go, okay, well, what about the Vikings? And does anybody dispute that Vikings were coming over for like 400 years before Columbus? Didn't they get their horns from the Sioux people? That's what I think. I think the Vikings came over, they met the Sioux people, they saw buffalo for the first time. And they got influenced. And unlike some people, they came, they explored, and they went home again. Vikings! And that is why the Anishinaabe people of Minnesota Honor the Vikings with their football team. And how every year they just don't quite win. They just can't quite win. They always lose out. They'll go to the Super Bowl 4 times in the 70s and never again. Anyway, did you see the video where he said he's a shaman? If not, you have to look it up. Oh, he's a shaman too. Nice. I'm going to go to a sweat lodge that Buffalo Bill Braveheart, or whatever that guy's name is. Okay, yeah, I'll check it out later. He's a shaman. You know, that's the problem. Guys like that give shaman really bad names. Number one, don't even use that word, shaman. Shaman. I guess that means something gross in Spanish. One of those languages. You know, you're a medicine man if you're anything. Shaman. What's that mean? You took peyote? Listened to the Doors in the desert? Oh, I'm a shaman. Yeah. Real spiritual there. But not that I care that the government got stormed. That's kind of funny. Oh, how dare they? Oh, look at us cowering behind her. Hey, give me back my podium. I'm Nancy Pelosi or somebody. Oh, you hooligans. This is why we need to clamp down on security. I don't know. I mean, I'm not the type to go storming anything. I never protest. You know, I kind of don't want to give the people I'm mad at that kind of respect. Like, I don't want to act like they're my leader that need, you know, I will speak truth to power. And, oh, you're so powerful. You know, I don't care. Not worth my time. Oh, I protest. Give me my rights. Because that's what it kind of says, you know. You know, it kind of legitimizes the government if you say, I want you to give me my right to blank, to whatever. Then you're saying that the government gives you rights. Government don't give you no rights. Government gives you the right not to be messed with. That's the only right. You have the right not to have people messing with you. But they don't give you the freedom to say something. You just have that. I can say whatever I want. Now, the Facebook and YouTube has the right to censor me. You know, because the government doesn't give them the right to censor. They just do it. God gave them that right, I guess. You know, because it's not stopping them. What are rights? I think rights are just the things that you have born with. Hey, have a great day. You got to go. Peace out from the Merkaba V and Miigwech. Miigwech for stopping by. I'll see you again. Hey, does that mean a time? Oh, man, it's already 7 o'clock. You guys, you got to go. You know, some of you haven't even taken a shower for your job. So I should sign up for the day. You guys, it was really fun. Thank you for coming into the BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO live stream. A podcast about Ojibwe language and political discourse. Now I'm going to go do a pipe ceremony with that Wild Bill Braveheart, the shaman, storming the Capitol, stealing Nancy Pelosi's stuff. You know. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much. Gonna sign out. Miigwech Ganawabi Egg. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again. Gigawabamin. Jim Dunn. Thank you. I will see you again. Minawa. Hawa. This is the end. Gigawabamin.